Yeah, welcome in. Welcome back to another episode of the Format Podcast. Got a pretty interesting show for you here today, and we're going to talk about what else? LeBron James, because if you're talking basketball, you almost have to talk about one of the most polarizing names in the game. And why are we talking about LeBron James? Because he's back at it, and as usual, he's being disingenuous, and I'm going to tell you all about it. But before we get to that, if you haven't already, please go ahead, click that subscribe, that like, and that notification bell. Make sure you're kept up to date whenever we get new content on the channel. Make sure if you want the audio only version of the podcast, you open up your audio podcast platform, hit the search bar, type in the Format Podcast. We should come right up. And if you're enjoying the content, you can give us that like, that 5-star review, and leave us a comment. Definitely looking forward to hearing your comments, getting back to you, and definitely looking forward to this weekend, hopefully our first ever live call-in show. So let's make sure we get in here for that. All right, that's coming, and looking forward to it. All right, LeBron James. Man, why did I say he's being disingenuous again? Because as we know, this past weekend was NBA AllStar Weekend, and the NBA on TNT crew was there. Shaq, Kenny Smith, Charles Barkley, Ernie Johnson, they were all there. And LeBron popped up to the table after the game, and they were doing some talking. And this was interesting because LeBron said some things that pretty much blew me away. And we're going to listen to those, and then we're going to come back and talk about it, and I'll explain why. Let's go ahead and check that out.
You know, a story that got everybody's attention last week between the Lakers and the Golden State Warriors. Golden State trying to acquire LeBron James. And how far did this go, and how much did you entertain that thought?
It didn't go far at all. You know, I actually heard about it when everybody else heard about it. You know, obviously, you know, Charles been in the league, Kenny been in the league, Shaq been in the league, and sometimes there's conversations happen behind closed doors that you don't even know about. And until, I guess, if it's real or not, then they'll bring it to you, but it never even got to me. So, you know, I heard it when the reports dropped as well.
So LeBron James must think everybody is stupid. LeBron James is easily the most powerful player in the league, and maybe the most powerful person in the NBA. And he is going to sit there and tell us that he heard about the trade rumor at the same time we did. How much sense does that make to you people? And the reason I ask you is this. We didn't hear about the trade rumor at the trade deadline. We didn't hear about the trade rumor before the trade deadline. We heard about it days afterwards. So how could LeBron not have heard about it? Obviously, they would have had to run it past him. Rich Paul would have had to run it past him. Now, we maybe can assume that Rich Paul knows that LeBron would have had no interest in that, but LeBron James does not strike me as the type of dude that you speak for him without speaking to him, right? This is the type of dude that, again, super powerful, and that's fine, but there's no way you can tell me that a deal of that magnitude and that type of situation would come about, and LeBron James says that he found out at the same time the rest of us did. Come on, man. Like, this is the stuff that bothers me. I get it. You have carefully curated your image. You are very calculated and well thought out in everything that you say and you do. But at the same time, you're doing and saying things that are utterly ridiculous that make no sense. But that's fine. What it is, this is just another example of LeBron James being disingenuous. You see, the LeBron people who love him so much, they act like, and I've said this before, they act like he turns water to wine, and that he walks on water, and that he heals the sick and raises the dead. And so it's impossible for them to hear or see anything that he does through an objective lens. It's impossible. They can't do it, right? I've said it before. He seems to have some magical hold over people, because he can say these things and do these things, and people act like this is all normal, or this is, you know, this is not out of reach, or that it all makes sense when it makes no sense at all. But that's fine. So this is just another example of LeBron being disingenuous, but this is not the only one. So let's go ahead and listen to some more LeBron being disingenuous, and I'll come back and talk about it. But, you know, I know y'all are going to say, some of y'all are going to say, oh, Bruce, you a hater. You a LeBron hater. Right. I hate him, so you all love him, right? But anyway, whatever. So let's go ahead and let's check out some of the other things LeBron has to say that makes no sense and are utterly disingenuous.
I have not mapped out how many seasons I have left. I know it's not that many. I also don't know if I will. I was asked this question a couple of days ago. Will you take the farewell tour, or will you just Tim Duncan it I'm 50-50. I'm gonna be honest, because there's times where I feel like I guess I owe it to my fans that's been along this journey with me for 2 decades plus to be able to give them that moment, whereas every city and whatever the case may be, and, they give you your flowers or whatever the case may be, and that seems cool. But the other side of I've never been that great with accepting like praise. It's a weird feeling for me. I never really talked about it much, but it's just a weird feeling for me. So to go in each city, if that's the case, I don't know. I've seen Mike's, I've seen Kobe's, I've seen a lot of guys. I just don't know how I feel. I don't know if I will feel great about it. Maybe the only child in me, maybe, but I don't know. But I am a Laker, and I am happy and been very happy being a Laker the last 6 years, and hopefully it stays that way. But I don't have the answer to how long it is or which uniform I'll be in. Hopefully it is with the Lakers. It's a great organization and so many greats, but we'll see. I don't know how it's going to end, but it's coming.
So you understand what I say when I say he's at it again, when I say he's disingenuous. So the first part is, this is the guy who says he doesn't know if he's 50-50 on whether or not he wants a Mike and Kobe, Kareem type retirement tour, or if he just wants to step away quietly like Tim Duncan. Who are you kidding, LeBron? Who are you kidding? I mean, anyone who believes this, there have to be some deficiency in their mental capacity, because no one could possibly believe this. This guy is the most attention-seeking player in the history of the NBA. There's never been a more look at me, look at everything I do, on the floor, off the floor type guy. We see it with the flopping. We see it with him begging for calls and the whining. We see it when he does things off the floor. He's always got to have, he's always got to have the public there and the photos and the video and the, look what I'm doing. Look at me. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. Everything is always publicity. Now, that said, I totally understand why he does it. He has completely maximized every aspect of his career. On the floor, off the floor. He said it from the beginning. He wanted to be the first billionaire or athlete, or I guess the first billionaire NBA player while he was playing. And he did that. And it couldn't have happened if he hadn't been such a genius in taking advantage of attention, social media, media in general. Everything has to be look at me, okay? So the thought that he could even contemplate doing a Tim Duncan and stepping away quietly, that was Tim Duncan's personality. Tim Duncan wasn't all about look at me. He wasn't about the media. He wasn't about claiming any GOAT case, whatever, in the media. Tim Duncan was, I'm going to come out on this floor and I'm going to bust you down, and I'm going to win 5 chips, and I'm going to win 50 plus games for 15 straight years, and I'm going to make my mark. And then when I'm done, I'm going to be widely regarded as the greatest power forward who ever played, one of the greatest defensive players who ever played, one of the greatest offensive players who ever played, one of the greatest linchpins of any team who ever played. You get it here? And he never had to go in the media and say it. He never had to do any of that. He just got busy and then he left. And now LeBron, his attitude and his mental state, the type of person he is the exact and total opposite of that. He has to tell you what he's doing. He has to try and he has to lobby for your acceptance. He has to lobby for your love. That's who he is. That's why Clutch Sports does this every time they go somewhere. Every time Rich Paul has an interview, he's trying to explain to you why LeBron is better than Michael Jordan, why LeBron is the greatest of all time, this, that, and the third. LeBron on the shop, sitting there telling you he's the greatest of all time, trying to manipulate it, right? Okay, cool. Next, in this same clip, LeBron says, I've never been too comfortable accepting praise. Are you freaking kidding me? What's wrong with you? Listen, I'm not stupid. Maybe a lot of other people are. I'm not. And it's offensive to me for someone to sit there and tell me I'm not comfortable accepting praise. I think it's weird. Really? All you have looked for your entire career is praise. I just finished talking about how Rich Paul and Clutch Sports always have to push the envelope every time you see him. Every interview they're in, they got to try and explain to you why LeBron is the GOAT. Everything he does is look at me, look at me. He wants the praise. He wants the accolades. He wants the adulation. How about you just go out there and dominate, and all that's going to come to you anyway? Mike didn't beg for it. He just went out there and got busy, destroyed people. Kobe didn't beg for it. He went out there and destroyed people. Dream didn't beg for it. He went out there and destroyed people. Kareem didn't beg for it. He went out there and destroyed people. Are we seeing a theme here? Are we seeing a theme here? Magic didn't beg for it. He went out there and destroyed people, and he did it with a smile, and they loved him. Larry Bird didn't beg for it. He went out there and destroyed people, and he talked greasy to him, and he cursed at him, and he busted him down, and he gave him the business, and he handed him work. And he didn't go to the media begging for you to think that he was something that he wasn't. He just did his work and went home. Why is LeBron the only player of this level, the only player who's had this type of career that's always has to beg for praise and adulation? And then he really sits here and tells us that he's never been comfortable accepting praise. Come on, man. We're not stupid. But there's more. Let's hear LeBron at it again.
I realize that the conversation is going to continue to happen no matter what. And it's great for the game.
Yeah.
It's great for the barbershops. It's great for the game. It's going to continue to happen. I don't know why. The one thing I don't understand is, like, you never hear, the greatest quarterbacks.
See, this is what I'm talking about. So this was an interview. Richard Jefferson interviewed him. Now, Richard Jefferson's a former teammate. He's a former small forward in the NBA, very good player, national champion at Arizona, et cetera, et cetera. But this is a guy, okay, he's sitting there, he's interviewing LeBron, and he's asking him, why did you kind of step back from your stance that you're the greatest of all time? Okay, cool. So LeBron clearly never changed his mind. He obviously, you know what? Let me take that back. I don't believe that LeBron truly believes he's the greatest of all time, because if he did, he wouldn't have to do all this extra stuff. But that's just my opinion. Anyway, so LeBron sits here, and the first thing he says that's utterly ridiculous and disingenuous, he says, you never hear a debate about who's the greatest quarterback of all time. Is it Brady or Montana? You absolutely do. You absolutely do. LeBron, I know you're a sports fan. What do you mean you don't hear a debate? You absolutely hear that. Now, Brady is widely considered the greatest quarterback of all time because of what he's been able to accomplish in his legendary career. He's got just about every passing record, as well as the record for championships with 7. But you absolutely hear that debate. See, this is what I'm talking about. These guys know who they're talking to. And again, LeBron has that magical ability to turn people's brains to mush, because when he says these things, nobody pushes back, nobody argues, nobody asks questions. It's insane. But let's go on.
Yeah.
Always talked about. You never hear, like, who's the greatest quarterback, Brady or Montana.
Yes, you
got Brady with 6.
Yeah.
Or you used to hear the Peyton and Brady thing when they played, but Brady started to win a lot more and things of that nature. But you never hear, like, every single conversation.
Baseball.
Single
it's Babe Ruth, and then people just move on.
Right. They just
it's
move
like,
on.
No more arguments.
Right. No more arguments.
Baseball player.
Right. Exactly. So and other sports, hockey, you hear Wayne Gretzky.
Well, the reason you don't hear the argument in hockey is because Wayne Gretzky is clearly and far and away the greatest hockey player of all time. Like, pretty much every metric demonstrates that. His dominance as a winner demonstrates that from the time he walked into the league, just how great he was. But that's not even the issue. Babe Ruth, if you talk to baseball people, there's absolutely an argument on who the greatest baseball player is of all time. Yet Babe Ruth was great. Some people may say Barry Bonds. Some people may say Hammerin' Hank Aaron. I'm not a baseball aficionado, but the point is I have heard different people mentioned in that discussion. Also, of course, there's the argument that how can Babe Ruth be the greatest baseball player of all time when he didn't play in an integrated league? So we don't know how truly great he was. So there's that. So again, LeBron saying ridiculous things, and then you got Richard Jefferson in the background just chiming in, agreeing with him, no pushback whatsoever. What do we expect, right?
People move on. You move on. Wayne Gretzky is the greatest. You move on. There's, things of that nature. But, the conversation is going to always be had, and it's great for debates because they want to compare errors. They want to compare players and who they've seen.
So, LeBron, you came out and you said that after you won a championship in 2016, that made you the greatest of all time. So let's not act like some random people just came up with this you and Michael Jordan argument. Yeah, you're all-time great, LeBron, but Come on, man. Like, you really stoked that fire, and now you try to step back from it, and you try to make these ridiculous arguments and these analogies that don't make any sense, and it's just not working, LeBron. It's just not working. But back to the original point. So you see multiple instances here of LeBron being flat out disingenuous in the things he says. I don't want to call him a liar because I don't think he's directly lying, but I think that he is manipulating the way he says things so that he can kind of he's playing around with the words and manipulating his commentary so that he can say what he wants to say while not being directly truthful. I think there's a difference between that and flat out lying. He's being extremely disingenuous. He's been disingenuous time and time again over the years. This is nothing new. This is nothing new. But the crazy part, like I said, is that when he speaks, people just believe him as if his word is gospel. And I can't for the life of me understand that. But I just took some time here to break down some of the things he said that are utterly ridiculous. And yeah, leave your comments in the comments section. Can't wait to hear from you on this one. Do you think LeBron is flat out lying? Do you think he's just being disingenuous? Do you believe all the stuff that he's saying? Am I crazy? Leave your comments in the comments section. Can't wait to hear from you. I'll be back with you on the next episode. And I'm out. Peace.